Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Do You Rate BTS? I'm Lisa.
And I'm Diluze. Welcome back, guys. So this week, sorry if we're laughing, y'all. We recorded like a good 15 minutes of this already, and it was not recording. So we're just repeating it. That's why we're laughing. But we read this story called Natural. It's a Kim Tae-young story, and it's written by alloflovethatmadeit on Wattpad. Yeah, it's a completed story because we were having some issues finding some completed ones. All the good stories that we've been running across have been not finished, so we finally got a completed story. But yeah, let's get into it.
All right, guys. So again,
Take two.
So at the beginning of this story, we have Taeyoung and what Taeyoung is with his girlfriend named Youngmi, but they call her Yummy, and they call her Yummy for a reason, because Yummy be getting down, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Yummy's giving Tay some good old head, and so, like you said before, it pops off, literally. And then after they done, Yummy is saying, oh, maybe you could give me some head this time, and he's like, oh, no, gotta go to class. So he dip off and leave her and go to class. He goes to class, and he sees this, they have a project they have to do. So, of course, y'all know they got to partner up together. So once they partner up together, he ends up with this girl named Namaya. She's a black girl, very beautiful and curvaceous, okay? So, so he gets with her, like, as time goes by, they kind of just, like, link up and keep, kind of doing this project day by day. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell the side story of Yugi,
Okay.
because we didn't get to that. So in one of the days, Tay ended up going to hang out with all the guys. I think he just ends up with Yugi and Jimmy first, and they go with
Yoongi.
Yeah, they go with Yugi somewhere. They go to his house. End up meeting, did not even know. They knew that Yugi had a girlfriend and a kid, but they didn't know she was a black girl. So they all surprised that Yugi got this girl and got this beautiful baby that looked just like him.
Could you imagine like a little mixed Yoongi?
Oh, I thought about that too. I said that would be so cute.
Right?
That little cat face with that good old skin.
Yes. So cute.
Right. So, Yugi has it out with this girl, Cam, because at this time they are not together.
They are off and on a lot.
A lot. But Yugi really loves this girl. But this girl what is her name? Kayla?
Her name's Keisha.
Oh, Keisha. Typical.
Yeah, her name Keisha. Keisha something. I can't remember what her last name was, but
it's Keisha something, but he called her Cam with the last name Min.
Yep.
Yeah, which is cute.
That is really cute. Yeah.
Like, they be getting into it, though. Like, she ratchet. Like, and her mama ratchet and her sister ratchet, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the mama don't like him.
Right.
And I don't even really know why the mama don't like him. I don't know if it's because he's Korean or whatever. But I know he don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't know why she don't like him. But his family also will not have anything to do with him because he having kids by a black girl.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if y'all know how some Korean people are, they do like their people to end up with their people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not everybody. That's just some families. That's what it's known. So in the story, that's what the author writes about. Anyway, y'all, I say all this to say this is a side story.
Right. This side story actually has a story coming out on its own. It's called, was it Dark Liquor or something like that? Or Dark...
Yeah.
Something like that. It's coming out.
And this story is so cute because it just plays out in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, they all get together, all the BTS, they get together, but they're not BTS, they are just college students.
Mm-hmm.
They get together and they're going to hang out in this club. And Jin has all the money. So Jin can get them in very easily. He just flashed some money and they just, we don't know what Jin people do, what Jin do. We just know he got all the money.
Mm-hmm.
So they go into this club, they're drinking, Jin's buying everything, but Jin is such a freak, y'all. Jin is such a freak, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he is like thinking he is better than everybody. So go ahead, Dean.
So he think he better than everybody. They got this VIP section. They're drinking champagne. They have this cute waitress that's, I think she's black in the story, and they're all having a good time or whatever. Well, they're drinking and some of the guys want something harder to drink since they only have champagne, so they want to go get drinks. But nobody's really getting up. So Tay's kind of scanning the club and notices this girl on the dance floor and is like, man, she looks familiar. So then he realizes it's Maya. So he grabs Hobie and him and Hobie go over to the dance floor and start dancing. So Tay is right up on Maya. They're dancing. Myeon, her friend, is there with her, and she's kind of giving her like the thumbs up, like, yeah, girl, that's dude from class, like, yeah, you're fine. So she's really getting into it. They're dancing, all that. You know, Maya is drunk a little bit, so she's just having a good time. So at some point, they part from one another. Tay and Hobie go back to the table, and Myeon gives Hobie her number. So they go back to the table, and Jin is talking so much mess. So he's just talking about how, why would he be dancing with that black girl? Black girls are bad, and this and that. Just kind of like talking all this crazy mess. So Yoongi is pissed, and Tay and Jimin have seen, you know, his son and his girl, and so they're looking like, oh no, this is about to be bad. So Yoongi storms off. Namjoon ends up following Yoongi, like, just to make sure that he's good, and the other guys end up leaving the section and leaving Jin by himself because they're like, nah, we're not about to sit here and listen to his craziness.
And Yuki was about to get him too, honey.
Sure was. He was ready to go.
They brought him back.
So they're all hanging out, whatever, and everybody's starting to like leave, and Tay notices that Maya is still there, but she's pretty drunk, and so to prevent her from having to get taken home by some stranger, he decides to take her back to her dorm. So he takes her to the dorm, you know, leaves her, makes sure she's good to go, and ends up leaving. So the next day, she texts him and is like, oh my gosh, did we have sex? So she wakes up and she's like feeling like crap. So she's like, oh my gosh, did we have sex? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like kind of joking around with her and realizes that she's serious.
No, because he said, why can you still feel me inside of you?
Right. So he's like kind of giving her a hard time, like, yeah, you know, this and that, and she's just like, oh my gosh, please tell me that didn't happen. And so then he's like a little hurt because he's just like, dang, girl, like, you didn't have to be rude about it.
Which, girl, I don't know why you don't know, because if you're a virgin,
right, you would know for sure.
You would know for sure.
Like, absolutely. So he eventually tells her, like, nah, girl, it's fine. Like, so his feelings are hurt. So he's like, no, I just want to make sure you're okay. I didn't want somebody to take advantage of you. I would never take advantage of you. I think you're beautiful, blah, 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 blah. So she just lets out a sigh of relief, and he's just like, yeah. So he realizes then, like, okay, she doesn't see me like that, so we're going to be just friends. So he kind of, like, plays on that. So at this time, Tay's like feeling some type of way towards her, and he knows that she's like low-key feeling some type of way about him, but she doesn't want to make it known because she has concerns about dating somebody that's Korean because she's seen what, you know, how people are. It sounds like their school is like Korean and black. That's what it sounds like.
For real.
She's like worried about the repercussions from that, if there is going to be any, whatever. So she's kind of hesitant. So they kind of keep going through their time as classmates, and she keeps saying like, "Oh, we're just classmates, this and that," and he's
But
just
they
kind of
like
like,
each
"Yeah,"
other.
but they like each other, so he's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." But he notices like people like when they're in the library and stuff like that, they can hear people whispering about them and talking about them, and why is he dealing with that black, like all this, just all this craziness.
Yeah.
So one day, and I can't remember the order of this, but I remember one day they go out to get some food, and
Uh-huh.
they go to this little market that Tay is familiar with, and they're getting their food, and the lady is staring at Tay and looking at Maya like in disgust because they're together. So
Yeah.
they have some words in Korean, and they eventually leave. Like he grabs her hand and they leave, and she asks him, "Hey, what was that about?" And he's like, "I'm not welcome back at this store anymore."
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of crazy. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, anyway, they just end up going on a few like dates. They started going on dates, but friend dates.
Mhm.
But like we said, he liked her, she liked him. He started letting her know that he liked her. Like, okay, so
Mhm.
this how it went. So Christmas break started happening. Wasn't it Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was some holiday that they were about to go on.
Okay, so they had a break. She went home. He was there on campus. Who was he talking to? He had a conversation with somebody.
It was Yoongi and Yoongi's girl's little sister.
Oh yeah, because Tay is actually really close, more close to Yugi than anybody.
Mhm.
So, he starts telling Yugi how he likes this girl and all this stuff like that, and how he doesn't know how to approach it. And Yugi asks the girl, because by this time, Yugi and Cam has moved in with each other.
Mhm.
And so, he asked them a couple questions. They answered it for him or whatever. Yuki ended up just telling him he need to go see her. Or I don't know if it was him or you, the girl or you. You said he need to go see the girl.
Mhm.
And he was like, oh, she's on Christmas break or whatever. And then he was like, well, don't you got the friend's number? And so he got the number from Hobie. And Hobie called. I guess he called Neon, the best friend, and found out where her family lived. They ended up going to see her at her family house.
Which is psychotic, and like I mean I get it, it's cute, but like how pissed would
Girl,
you be
I
if
would have.
somebody just
Yes,
randomly
you're not finna pop up on no holiday at my people's house.
No, not my people house. I don't
Yeah,
pop up at my house, but my people house?
right,
No.
right, right. You done crossed the
Girl.
line.
Right.
But it was cute anyway.
It was cute. It was cute for like the story, but real life that's fights. But
Right.
yeah. So he ends up showing up, and so he's playing. First of all, he gets there and he decides like this is the time that I'm gonna play basketball with her little brother. She
Right.
doesn't even know I'm freaking here. So Maya goes outside and notices like there's this guy and realizes it's Tay. So she sends her little brother inside and is like, "Hey, bro, what you doing here?" And he's like, "I just wanted to, see you. I wanted to talk to you about some things." Well, they didn't get a chance to talk, and the little brother's like, "Hey, mom says come wash up, or he gotta go if he not gonna eat." So they invite him for dinner. She has never brought a guy to meet her mom.
Well, and the mom was like, "Tell that little boy to come in."
Okay, tell him to come inside and eat this dinner. I was like, "That's okay, mama." So they have dinner or whatever. She's asking 1,000,000,001 questions. So after dinner, Tay and Maya are having a conversation about how awkward it was and all this other stuff, and they're just kind of getting to know each other more and all this. So he asked her out on a date, and she's just kind of like, I think they're to watch a movie or something like that.
No, he told her that this is before that, but he told her that he liked her and he really wanted to be with her, and she turned him down.
Yeah, she said she wasn't dating right now.
Yeah, she wasn't that, even though clearly she liked him.
Right, it was obvious that she liked this boy.
But she also know how Korean culture is.
Right.
So she was just like, "Oh no, your family wants you with a Korean girl, like not me." Like, And so he got upset and he was like leaving and she was like, oh, Tay. And then he turned around and she was like, oh, can we still be friends? He was like, yeah, of course it's like fashion. You could just tell, like, I could see his little smirk but being sad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, then what happened?
So after they get back from vacation, they end up having their date, which, if this is this the movie one?
Mm-mm.
So they had a date where he had invited her over to watch movies, and she didn't want to go by herself because she had just turned him down. So she invites Myeon to come with her, and then he invites Tay to come with. He invites Hobie to come with, or have him stay while they're watching the movie, so it's not like them by themselves.
It's so funny because Myeon, she did not want to go.
She did not want to go. So, okay, in the midst of this, there's another side story. So, Myeon met Hobie and was interested or whatever, and at some point, I think she gave him head, and then, like, she tried to have sex with him, but he wasn't really on that with her. So, she felt some type of way about it. Well, she ended up meeting JK, and her and JK started hooking up, and then they just kept hooking up. So Tay ended up hearing about it because JK and him and somebody else were talking, and it came out that he was having sex with this girl. So now you got Hobie and Tay at Tay's house, and then you have Maya and Myeon coming over, but they don't know that Myeon's with her. So they get there early while Hobie's still there, because Hobie wasn't trying to be there either. He was ready to bail. And once he saw that it was them, he was like, all right, I'm going to stay, but I wish I would have known. He's still like kind of nervous around this girl because he really likes her. So they get there, whatever. Everything's like awkward a little bit because Myeon has an attitude. And Maya ends up going downstairs with Tay to go get some pizza.
Okay, but tell why Maya had that Myeon had an attitude.
So Myeon had an attitude because why did she have an attitude?
Myeon had an attitude because she did not want to be there, and low-key, she be messing with JK. Yeah,
so she wasn't trying to do that because she was trying to, go to where she was gonna go. So Hobie's sitting there trying, like, getting nervous and trying to talk to this girl. This girl's pissed because she's just like, when is this girl coming back? I can't believe she left me with this man. They get back, eat pizza, whatever. At some point,
JK come in.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. JK and Namjoon come in.
Right.
So they get there. So now it's super awkward because Myeon and JK don't give two pieces and are just super obvious.
Obvious, but still, Hobie still don't catch it.
Oblivious. Just not catching it. That homie didn't catch it till the very end of the story, damn near.
For real. But Tay and Namaya saw the whole thing.
Yeah, they're sitting there watching it happen, and then Namjoon is low key trying to hit on Maya because Tay is like, "No, we're just friends," but he's like low key pissed. So everybody eventually leaves, and Maya stays there to help clean up with Tay, and so they're talking about the situation with JK and Myeon and how that went down, and then she's like, "Are you okay?" Because she notices how pissed he was with Namjoon trying to hit on her. So he's like, well, you're free to do whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I wouldn't do that to you. Like, I wouldn't. And he's just like, oh, I just, we're just friends, so it is what it is. And she's like, no, it's not. I would never. And then, was that the night that they kissed? Or no?
Oh, girl, I do not remember.
I don't either. I just remember there was something that they were doing, and then she eventually was like, all right, I'm going to kiss this man. So they started, like, kissing and making out and all this other stuff. But I don't remember what part of the story that was.
Yeah, but go ahead and say that part.
Okay. So at some point now, Maya is like, all right, I'm just going to give in to the fact that I like this man. So they're sitting there, and she just goes to kiss him. So they start kissing hot and heavy and all this other stuff. And then he starts playing with her. And that's kind of where it goes. So then as time goes on, they keep doing that. They keep like playing with each other, but they never actually have sex.
Yeah, but that's
So
when Tay figured out that she a virgin. He didn't even like. Tay was like, okay, so let me get this condom, and she was like, first of all, I'm allergic to latex, and secondly, I ain't never done this before.
right, she just tried to glaze over that, and he was like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Oh, I said I was allergic to latex." He was like, "No, the second part."
Yeah.
And so, he was just like, "Wait, so you want me to be the guy that takes your virginity?" And she's like, "Yeah, I just want this to happen." And he pretty much tells her the whole time, like, "You need to really think about this if you really want it to be me, but I'm not gonna just like have sex with you until you're sure," because he's like, "I've never had sex with a virgin before." So they keep doing that. Well, at some point, I'm gonna hop to the little fight thing that happened at school. So at some point, Maya and Myeon are sitting, and Tay are like hanging, or no, they're sitting there minding their business, and Yummy and her crew of girls come up and start talking mess to Maya. So it starts getting loud, and then Malachi, who's this guy that was trying to get into Maya pants. Everybody got M names.
Oh, I never realized that.
Yeah. Everybody got an M. He steps in because he wanted to defend her honor, and then Tay comes in and sees what's going on and takes Yummy away. So then Maya feels some type of way about that whole situation because she's like, dang, he didn't even like make sure I was straight, like he just kind of bounced out. So she feels some type of way about that forever. Like, that's just my friend, so he don't owe me anything, blah, 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 blah. So she's sulking around, Myeon seeing it, Tay behind the scenes has been sulking around, all this other stuff. Finally, Myeon tells her, like, girl, you can stop lying to yourself. Like, we know that you like this man.
Right, everybody.
Go get your man.
But at this point, everybody in the whole school know who they are, because they they be kissing and hugging each other all up in public, but they just friends, so everybody knows that they go kiss together, pretty much, without being together.
Right, because she didn't want to put a title on it. So she decides, okay, I'm gonna go over to his house. So she goes to his house, and Yummy answers the door, and she looks like she just got out of the shower.
Yeah, so, why is Yummy at this house, and when I don't get the excuse that he was using, why is he still there though?
Right, I was kind of confused by that because he's like, well, I took the shower in the locked door, but like, why was she inside in the first place?
Right.
What were y'all talking about? That's me, I guess, my trauma showing. I don't know.
No, that's no trauma. That's what you would think.
Yeah, it don't make sense. So she answered the door looking like she looking, and so Maya immediately feels some type of way. So, and she's talking mess on top of that, so it's not making it any better because she told her that they had just had sex and that Tay was in the shower. So Tay is like coming out, he's dressed and his hair is a little bit wet, so Maya starts to like run off. So he goes and chases after her and is like, hey girl, it's not like what you think. It's really, she just came over, like I was in the shower. It's not like that. So he walks up to Yummy with girl's hand in his hand and is like, hey, like I told you before, we're done. You need to go, all this other stuff. And she's like, I just don't understand. He's like, we haven't been, together for a long time. Like, you really need to leave. So he grabs her stuff and pretty much like shoves her out the door. Okay, go ahead, girl.
Anyway, I think they had like a conversation and they just wasn't they official after that?
I think they ended up being official after that.
Yeah, so like they have this conversation of them like being official and being each other, but Ma's like, okay, we're gonna have sex now.
Right, homegirl was ready.
She was ready. He should have gave it to us after she was ready, because like she kept saying like, because even though they never had sex, they would do other things. So she would always be like, okay, can we have sex now? He's like, no, I don't think you're ready. I would have been like, boy, I am ready.
Like, we have done everything up to it. If you don't poke me, like, what the heck?
If you don't break this seal.
I mean, Like, what? He's like, girl, I don't think you're going to be ready for this. And she's like, why do you say that? He's like, I'm big, girl. She's like, you can't be that big. And then she saw it and was like, you right. You right. You right. I might not be. We're going to have to figure this
Right.
out.
She was like, oh, you hard already? He was like, no, I'm not hard.
He
She
said
was like,
no.
you ain't hard? What?
Girl, she's like, it gets bigger. Oh, man. So,
but,
yeah. Their whole thing is going on, and yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
no, just as time kind of just goes by, they together. Yugi break up with with Cam for a minute because he be saying some stuff. So Cam and Yugi was doing really good. They was like doing great, and Yugi was taking her on a picnic. Yugi took her on a picnic. They had the little baby. Like the whole scene was beautiful. It was a nice little, like beautiful family, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like at the picnic telling her how much he loved her. She was like, okay, can you give me a diaper? And then, oh, you do everything for me. He was like talking to her like, you do everything for me. You're there for me, and I love you. She was like, thank you. Can you help me to pack the wipes? And he was like, I think I want to spend the rest of my life with you, blah, 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 blah. She's like, thank you so much. I love you too. Can you hand me the powder? Like, that's how they were talking. Yeah, and then like he pulled out the ring and told her he wanted to marry her. And she was like, no, it's too soon.
Right. He was like, so we can have a kid together, but we can't get married. And she's just like, I just think it's too soon because we haven't really been dating for that long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and realistically, they was off and on so often. I mean, so much. It was like, I get it where she was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But then Yugi was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, what did he say? Something about her spreading her legs for him. And she
He
was
was
like,
like,
excuse me?
yeah, because he said, so you spread your legs for me the first time we meet, but you can't even marry me. Something.
Right.
I can't
And
remember how.
it was worded in a way that was like really messed up, and you're just like, bro, you didn't have to say that. Like,
Right, and then she was like, "Excuse me." He was basically saying, "Oh, but you was a hoe too." Like basically,
right.
and she was like, she got real mad. She was like, take me home, like for your information, she was the second dude I ever had sex with,
Right.
and he didn't know that.
Right.
And he instantly regretted when he said the harsh words that he said to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, kept apologizing. She was like, take me home, take me. He just kept apologizing. At this point, she like crying and all this stuff. So she ended up going home, like packing, getting ready, like she was leaving, going back to her mama's house.
Mm-hmm.
She was real quick to go back to that mama.
She sure was. She
and that mama, and the mama that right, and the mama I already didn't like her, so she was like, "Girl, come on."
Mm-hmm. Asked 0 questions. Was like, all right, your spot's still here, girl.
Mm-hmm. So, as time kind of go by with their story, she was like getting ready to like move out, and she thought he was at work, but he was at home. And then he was like apologizing to her and saying how much he loved her, and he would just be with her. They didn't have to be married. And then she decided that she loved him and that they went through all this stuff, and she wanted to marry him too. So they ended up just making up and having good sex, and yeah, they moved on.
So during all this time, I'm just gonna insert this real quick. J. Can and Namaya's best friend Mion, they still having sex.
Yep.
Everywhere, literally everywhere, in
right.
restrooms and desks, at work. It's at school. It don't matter.
They cannot resist each other because at one point of the story, that he feel bad about it because his homeboy's like, man, you wrong for messing with Hobie girl. He don't even know. Like, you wrong for that. And he was like, man, I got to break it off with her. And this was like only like the first or second time they had messed around.
Right.
And he met her at the party. She was looking good, and he couldn't take his eyes off of her. And then, he was like, this wrong, like my homeboy like you, and I feel bad. She was like, but I don't like him though. I
don't like him though. That's what got me. I don't like him though, so
yeah, right. And she was like, but I like you, so we gonna go ahead and do this thing. Go wait.
And they
And
ended up doing it.
they ended up doing it. He kept saying it accidentally happened. How it accidentally happened?
Right. Right. Like, no, there was no accidents there, sir. Just let's be honest.
Right, right.
So yeah, they're still doing their thing.
Uh-huh.
Jen's still a dick.
Yep,
I just want to include that as well.
nobody's friends with Jen at all.
Yeah. So now
Jen ended up being with me, Yummy.
Yummy. So okay, so we're just gonna hop there real quick. So one night, Tay is going to Namjoon's house for something. I can't remember what it was for, but he was going to Namjoon's house, and JK was supposed to meet him there. He told him where the key was, so he lets himself in and hears like moaning and stuff in the room, and thinks, "Oh, Namjoon got somebody here." So he go in the room. Well, I think he's like walking past, and he sees the broad shoulder.
He wanted to see what was going on.
So then he hears them talking, and he realizes it's Yummy, and she's like, "Yeah, was that good?" And he's like, "Yeah, that was fine." And she's like, "Oh, can you do me now?" So then Jin says, like, "No, I don't do that, but you can ask Tay. Apparently, he goes down on that black girl all the time, or something like that." Which, real quick, Tay had neither one of them, Tay or Namaya, had actually like done oral before, and the first time they did it was on each other. So they're having that conversation. Tay kind of overhears it, but then he sees that it's Jin and is like, "Yo, that's wild." So then that's that whole thing. So at this point, Tay and Maya are getting closer. Things are getting good, and as they're together, Tay tells her that he wants to like pretty much be with her and all this other stuff, and that if he'll have sex with her once she meets his family. So they end up meeting virtually, and it's going well somewhat. But you can see there's concern in his parents' faces, and they have like all these questions, but they're trying to be nice. So Tay asks for a minute alone with his family, and Maya goes to cook or whatever. So he's talking to his parents and is like, "Hey y'all, like I love this girl. I plan on proposing to this girl. Like this is who I love. This is who makes me better. All this other good stuff." So his parents are like, "Well, we do know this nice girl that when you come back to Korea, you can marry her or whatever." And he's like, "Nope, that's not gonna happen." So his parents just pretty much end up telling him they just want him to be happy, and if she's what makes him happy, then they're okay with it. They're just gonna have to get used to it because it's different.
Yeah, because he told his parents he wanted to marry her,
and he flat out was like, "If y'all don't, if this is the last conversation we have, then so be it."
Right, he was ready to let go of it all for her.
He sure was. He was not playing no games. So yeah, so after they have that, he tells her he's got like these condoms, or she sees that there's the condoms that are lambskin or something like that, and she starts kind of freaking out. So he's like, "We don't have to do this now," and she's like, "I'm just really nervous." So they kind of just wait until she's absolutely ready. At some point, she's ready, and they do it, and
it was beautiful too, y'all.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
It really was.
And I love the way the author like took it step by step.
Yes. I'm like, dang, that was a magical first time. My first time
was.
I like that.
It was not mine either, girl. It was not that great.
It was just, yeah. Like teen stuff for real.
This was just beautiful because he was tasting it nice and slow. He was talking to her, kissing on her face and loving on her, telling her how much he loved her. And then, in the middle of them, he breaking the seal.
Girl.
He said, ask her to marry him.
And she immediately loosens up because she was too tight and it was hurting him. And he, like, as he said that, she, like, loosened up and he was able to slide all the way in. And she's like, "That's not funny." And he's like, "No, I'm serious." I would have been like, "Can we talk about this when you're not inside of me?"
Right. But it was beautiful, and it made her, like, relax and just, like, love on him and stuff even more.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really cute.
So kind of time just goes by. They're still
Yeah.
together. They end up just like moving in with each other 2 years later. It's been like 2 years by now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're married yet. So,
They're not married yet. No.
so they end up going to Yugi's wedding. That's what that is. And the wedding is at Justice at the Peace. I love it.
Mm-hmm. My type of wedding.
Right. So they end up going to Justice of the Peace. And like they be having a whole conversation while Yugi was up there getting married to this girl.
Mm-hmm. Who was pregnant again?
Who was
Because
pregnant again?
Because they had a conversation at some point to have more kids.
Mm-hmm. So, and they talking nasty and what they gonna do and everything, and she big and pregnant.
Right. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be
Right.
okay. So yeah, they watched them get married. They're having their own little conversation, and
it was beautiful. They go home and then like they just talking, and she said, "Oh," Tay asked her, "Why did she tell him?" I'm like, what is going on? Tell him what. So we don't know what's going on to this part too. And he was like, why didn't she tell him? And she was like, what are you talking about? She was like, why didn't you tell JK? Or did he ask her or she asked him?
Oh, okay. I think he asked her because I think he only knew but so much, and she knew the rest of it. So he had asked her something, and then she ended up telling him that she had gotten married, and when she went back to Belize,
right?
And
so JK ended up he was in love with her by this time. He didn't realize it, but they've been like being sneaky links for 2 whole years.
For 2 years, you in a whole relationship. That thing lasted past 6 months. You in a whole relationship now.
Right. And they both knew about it because but they just didn't like talk about it.
Right, which is like, dang.
Mm-hmm. And
they could have been in love.
Right, and he said he knew it when Tay told him just sleep beside her, and he would know.
That hit me so hard in the feels.
Oh. So JK, yeah. So JK figure out what happened because Tay ended up just telling him, but he could not believe it. He could not believe it, and he went to Belize to look for her.
Sure did. And he showed up, which, like, what are the odds? But he shows up at this restaurant that she just so happens to be at with her man. And
Well, she wasn't there with that man. She was a waitress.
I thought she was was she a waitress?
She was a waitress.
Oh, okay, just kidding.
She was a waitress in the restaurant. And,
okay.
He went and seen her, and then when he was gonna talk to her, he looked to see her ring and found out that it was real what Tay had told him about her.
Mm-hmm. And so he sits there and confesses his soul to her, and she's
he was about to leave.
Mm-hmm.
He was about to leave, and then like right when he was about to leave, the scene in my head was like he was walking out the restaurant,
slow motion,
in slow motion, and she seen him. What she call him? Cool.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. She called him cool, and he turned around. He seen her, and like in my head, they was like at a crossing in a busy street, and he was talking to her, and they was in the middle, and people was walking all around them. That was the scene in my head, y'all.
That's way cuter than the scene I had in my head.
What was your scene like, girl?
She was there with her apron on and like trying to clean up stuff, and they was trying to have this conversation, and he starts to walk out. Then she walks outside the restaurant, and they're standing in front of the doors where people are looking at them mad because they can't get inside.
This is funny how you can be reading these stories and your whole story is just different. Like we reading the same story, But our imagination is just different, you know.
Girl, I don't know. It just brought a little comedy in my life. I don't know. I was just like, this is hilarious, but cute. So they're having she goes out, they have a conversation, and she's like, yeah, I felt like this, but I didn't want to say anything. And he's like, why didn't you say anything? They're going back and forth on why didn't you? And so she finally tells him, like, oh no, she doesn't tell him. Then he leaves.
No, he tell her he wants her to go with him, and she's like, she holds up her hand and show the ring or whatever, and he was like, well, what am I supposed to do without you? And she tell him, you need to go back, find you a Korean woman that's gonna love you, and give you everything you need, and have a good life.
Right, and so he leaves defeated.
Mm-hmm.
And goes back. So now he's there sulking, upset, or whatever. I guess in that time she was like, I'm not doing this. This is crazy. Let me go find my man because I love him for real.
Right. And meanwhile, Tay on the phone JK on the phone with Tay, telling him everything that did happen.
Wow.
What?
Tay's getting hit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about that part.
Yeah. So he's telling him all about it, and he ends up going back to his place. He orders some food and is waiting on the food to come. So the food is coming or whatever, and the guy says, yeah, your wife told me, or pointed me in the right direction. He's like, my wife? What are you talking about? So then he looks and he sees Myeon down the hall. So they have a whole conversation when she comes in. Is like, I'm not actually married. Like, it was something that we did. It was never legally bounding. He's actually gay. The friend that lives with him is his boyfriend. This was just so our parents would get off our backs. So then they're all happy and excited, and
they have sex.
They have sex, and that's their part.
And that's the end. That's the end, really.
Yeah, I mean, that is really the end, because, yeah, those were, like, the bonus chapters, so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really the end.
And so I'm like, what's going to happen now?
Right.
They're going to be together. What is she going to leave to do? Is he going to live in the house with the gay man and his boyfriend and her? Like, what they going to do?
I have a lot of questions, because now it's like, I don't know. How did you feel about the story?
I loved it. I thought it was so cute. It was a nice story, straight to the point.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved every minute of it. I thought it was so cute. The smut was good. Their relationship was just cute. Like, I love all the little side stories and what happened. All of them, they talk about what happened to them all. Jimmy ended up with somebody with a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Yugi got married to Cam and about to have another baby. So that's his number 2. JK ended up with old girl. J-Hope don't fool with nobody, because his feelings still hurt about that girl that he really liked, that he was scared to talk to the whole time.
That's the second story we didn't read, that somebody else got the girl because they were too nervous or whatever.
Yeah. Of course, y'all don't nobody fool with Jen. Mm-hmm. And Tay ended up with Namaya.
And Namjoon, I don't know what he was doing. He was just out there, I guess.
Oh, Namjoon left. He ended up with a girl too, though, but he went to work for his dad's business. So he went back to Korea. He went back to Korea.
Yeah. So that was really the.
How'd you feel?
I liked the story. I was really into it, and I feel like by the time that by the time I got to the end, I was just kind of wanting to know what happened.
Uh-huh.
Because it doesn't, like, Tay and Maya are engaged, but they hadn't gotten married. JK and Myeon, I wanted to know what happened with them. I know we'll end up finding out what happened with Yoongi and Cam, because that new story is coming out. Mm-hmm. So maybe some of those questions will be answered in that story.
Well,
maybe
I think that's what
include it.
I think that's what the author said, that she was gonna it was gonna be Yoongi and Cam's story, but she was gonna include what happened to, like, Tay and JK in this story.
Okay, cool.
So I'm curious to know, because at the end of the story, Tay and Namaya was talking about having kids.
Right. So I'm just curious to know what happened. I felt like I really enjoyed the story and I really liked it, but I do feel like the last couple of chapters were rushed.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like the story overall. It was really good, entertaining. Like once I started it, there was no stopping.
Right. It was a good fast read.
I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for our next story, who are we doing next? Namjoon?
I think Namjoon.
Okay, so we're gonna be doing Namjoon next. We will get that story going and we'll let you guys know what it'll be if you want to read along with us. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, our Instagram, our TikTok. You can always email us at doyoureadbts@yahoo.com. And yeah, guys, thanks for joining us for another episode.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.